others reported abuse. I believe you said they also reported it to the police. He'd been convicted. Did he serve jail time?
No. He was convicted of a misdemeanor sexual abuse of a restrained minor because he had given her Vicodin. But it went as a misdemeanor partly because it was a plea bargain. So he was convicted, but he was not yet a registered sex offender. It wasn't until he was convicted in 2004 of the abuse of an 8-year-old girl out in Oakley that he became a felon and a registered sex offender.
You mentioned Evelyn Kendrick, that's his wife?
Yes.
And he also molested, he had a child that he molested as well?
No, Evelyn's daughter from a prior marriage, his stepdaughter, was the first known victim. We know there are other victims. We know there were other girls within the congregation that he was grooming because one of the still active members of Jehovah's Witnesses testified, a woman testified, that Kendrick had taken her son shopping and another girl, and when they came back she looked at the receipt. He had bought a present for her son, and also in there was a receipt for a black bra, and he had bought a black bra for a 13-year-old girl within the congregation, not Candace, a different girl. And when she asked about it, according to her testimony, he said, well, every young girl needs a black bra. So he was certainly grooming other girls within the congregation. There was a report which was not allowed into evidence, but which he did not deny, of his touching the breast of a different girl. There were some photographs involving children whose identities were never established. There were probably 5 different references to victims here that this person had either molested or attempted to molest or was grooming for molestation. He certainly is a serial pedophile, as shown by his record, and a very dangerous individual, and probably remains that way today.
Is he still a Jehovah's Witness?
Of course. Who else would have him?
But he's still in good standing, like he never, even to this day.
He had the good sense, as most pedophiles do, to never molest a child with 2 witnesses.
Okay. And then one more question, the second victim after Candace, is she doing a lawsuit?
No,
And then
not to
what?
my knowledge at least.
Okay. And Candace, the documentary, Truth Be Told, when is that going to be released?
That's still pending. I think Gregorio Smith, that's the director, he is trying to meet all the requirements to get it in film festivals around the United States. That's his first goal. So I think some of the requirements for the film festival are that it's not released for sale at the moment. It's pending. If you go onto his site, or even, I'm going to try to keep everybody updated on it too, because I really want everybody to see it. Just keep your eye out for any new information on it.
No, after, I'll go.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of been answered, but if he's not disfellowshipped, despite what came out at trial, how is that the case? How can he not be disfellowshipped for what he's done? Do you know?
Not up to us.
I was told that it was because I never proved that it happened. That's what the elders told me when I first went to them in 2009, and they had told me that they wouldn't listen to me about trying to protect other children until I had proved that it happened, and that was by the biblical judicial process of 2 witnesses and confront him, because I never confronted him and he denied it. The elders had told me that they had asked him twice and he denied it, so no further action was taken.
So they will not listen to the judgment. The elders will not listen to the judgment made for you.
I don't think we've heard any updates on that. I don't think that they will I don't know.
You don't know.
I honestly,
I know.
It'll take more than this case, I think.
And he still goes to the meetings and people still associate with him?
I'm not aware of any of his personal life.
So I just can't believe that people would allow their children, if he's still going to the meetings, to even be around him. That's just shocking. And I know you don't speak for him, but that's just a shocking thought.
Before I ask my next question, I just wanted to shed a little light on what she's saying. There's probably two reasons why he's not disfellowshipped. The first one is if they disfellowship him, then they're kind of admitting that he did do something, and that kind of puts them in a bad position to try to defend.
It's all protected by the First Amendment. Disfellowshipping, we have nothing to do with.
No, I'm talking about in the congregation among the members or whatever like that. If they come forward and disfellowship him, then they're admitting they knew he did something and they didn't do anything about it.
If you want to figure out if he did something, you go to the Megan's Law list on the internet. Anybody can get to it who has a computer, and he's on it.
Yeah, but I don't know how long everybody in here has been in there, but in there, you're kind of, it's the whole innocent until proven guilty kind of a thing, and it's persecution, and they're lying on us and lying on me, and she said it, and the police falsely arrested. It's that whole little game
He pled guilty.
that they play. They made him do it. I'm telling you, that's how they think. My question is, when you talk about the two witnesses things, in the case, in cases like this, do you ever use biblical rebuttals to what they bring up as your, and I'm not sure whether it makes a difference or not, but
I did.
Okay.
Okay. One of the things that they did in their defense was to show how strongly opposed to childhood sexual abuse Jehovah's Witnesses are by putting into evidence various editions of the Awake and Watchtower magazines that contained a lot of different articles. In talking in their testimony in saying that, well, we're required to keep this secret by biblical scripture, they opened the door for me to tell the jury, as I did, that, hey, take a look at this, and I showed them one of the Awake magazine articles on childhood sexual abuse and pointed out that there was a verse from Matthew quoted there. I think it's 18 chapter verse 11. And I said, I thought the Bible said, he who shall offend against the little ones, it is better that he have a millstone tied around his neck and be sunk in the deepest sea. And that was my biblical retort. And we had some very, very devout religious people on that jury. Their informal response after the jury's verdict was over and they were allowed to talk was they were offended by what they deemed to be misuse of Scripture to accomplish a very secular goal of protecting themselves against lawsuits for child sex abuse and bad publicity. So the Scripture part, I mean, it made nice theater for the argument, and it does have a certain, amount of logic to it, but the case is really about the evidence of what happened, much more than it was about biblical interpretation, because like I said, if this was the Boys and Girls Club, it'd be the same case.
But they do try to throw a lot of that in there to...
Yeah, no, they told everybody this, the Bible made us do it.